Mais tout d'abord, une rencontre avec le redoutable Chris Nilan.
C'est qui, ça?
Voyons, Chris Nilan, c'est le plus grand bagarreur dans l'histoire du Canadien de Montréal. Puis il m'a dit quelque chose, il est resté pas mal tranquille, parce que moi, je l'aurais placé.
Ça t'arrête de toi. Ah!
What's your full name again?
Benoît.
Benoît.
Dutrisac. Dutrisac.
Dutrisac.
Dutrisac.
Dutrisac.
Ouais. D-U.
Dutrisac. Got it. Benoît.
Un dot.
Yep. Good.
Chris Knuckles Nilan, welcome.
Jointeur.
Jointure.
En français, jointeur.
Jointure. C'est bienvenue au Franc-Tireur.
Merci beaucoup.
Je suis content de...
Mon plaisir.
Que tu aies accepté l'invitation. When you were in Boston, you never set out these fucking frogs from Montreal.
No.
Really?
Never.
Because we're
Listen, I didn't know what frog was.
It's the insult we hear.
I never knew what a frog was till I got here.
Are you serious?
I never heard the term frog till I got here. And I grew up in Boston, okay? And I grew up in a very racially charged environment.
Yeah, you read about that.
Okay,
The
and
busing
I
and
grew
everything.
up black and white. Everything was black and white.
Right.
So when I came to Montreal, naive, okay, and the PQ was coming in, and the English and the French are all fighting, I couldn't understand why all these white people couldn't get along. Everybody's white. Why don't they get along? This is how I was. I was a 20 years old kid. And everything for me was black and white.
Yeah.
And then I started to understand the culture.
Did you get it?
Oh, yeah. Serge Savard helped me. He brought me home to his home. Yeah, and
So what's the difference between Anglophones and Francophones?
I don't know. Listen.
From your experience.
From my experience, the Francophone is a very proud, very passionate person who loves life, who is willing to speak out for what they feel is right. They want to protect their language. I understand that. They don't want to lose their culture. I understand that. I think sometimes, like anything, we can go too far. I believe the English in Montreal, you know, again, you're in here, you should make an effort to speak French. Now, here I am, an English guy, an American guy, who I can speak a little bit of French and understand a little bit of French. I would like to be bilingual, and I'm going to do that now that I've moved back here. And hopefully I can sit here one day and do this whole conversation in French.
Okay, okay.
I would love
we'll
to
do that. Whenever you're ready.
I would love to do that.
Comment vont tes mains? Comment sont tes mains? Are they still, they're in quite bad shape?
Pas pire.
Pas pire?
Yeah.
Ah oui? Pas trop magané?
Petit arthritique, là.
Ah oui?
Mon joint, là, mon genou, et mon ankle.
La cheville?
La cheville,
Okay.
là. Oui.
If it had been for hockey, I guess you wonder about that in your life.
I do.
I said, what the hell would you have done?
You know, if it wasn't for hockey, you know, I might be in jail now. I could be. I have friends that are still in jail. I have friends that are no longer with us because of the path they went down. And I never said, ooh, I'm the toughest, meanest guy.
Yeah.
I always knew that no matter what happened, no matter who I fought, I was one punch away from losing it. And that's what drove me even more so to when I fought these guys, to fight smart, use my head, good defensive fighter, be able to pick my way through the fight my fight, not the way you want me to fight. I got to fight the way I want to fight.
Is that streetwise, or you learn?
Of course it is. Streetwise, sometimes there's no holds barred. You have to do what you have to do to survive. But here, I had to fight smart, so I had longevity. For me to have success against big guys, I had to fight smart. I had to control the other guy and fight my fight. And that's what I did. I started to throw uppercuts. I started to tie up their strength. I would switch, throw uppercut, come over the top, switch, throw my left.
Anybody giving you advice?
One guy gave me advice, a friend of mine, Tom Regan from Boston. He told me, hey, when you fight from now on, when you throw in the uppercut, don't aim for the chin. Aim for the chest. Because if you miss, you hit the chest, you're going to hit the chin. If you aim for the chin and you miss, you miss.
Did it work?
Oh, yeah, it worked.
Pénalité Nilan à 3 minutes et 34 secondes. Pénalité, c'est un 5.
Chris Nilan, 2 minutes pour rudesse et 10 minutes de mauvaise conduite.
Do you miss it? Do you miss fighting?
Sometimes. Sometimes.
How do you deal with this? It comes up in you?
No, you know, sometimes I look at things that happen on the ice and guys that piss me off, guys that do cheap things and then they don't back it up.
Yeah.
They go the other way.
Like who?
Patrick Coletta, the Sabado de Buffalo,
Right.
Matt Cook, Carl Lisa Tabernac, Matt Cook.
Oh, wait, and you're in your...
Yeah, I get like, you know, I wish. Or if I see something bad happen, Max Pacioretty.
Yeah.
Avec Chara.
With who?
Chara. Max,
From what
Max
fucking club? From who?
Yes, Boston.
Les astis de Boston, en marde.
Style crosseur.
You were the toughest, the meanest, the craziest.
I was unpredictable. And unpredictability goes a long way.
In what way?
In what way? Because everybody's always, what's he gonna do next? And I'll say it, and I mean it. 1989, Montreal Canadiens lost to the Calgary Flames. I guarantee you, it's easy to say now, but if I was there, they'd have 25 Stanley Cups now, not 24. I got traded. Boston Bruins never beat the Canadiens in a playoff series, and I'm not saying it's just because of me, but the first time they beat them was after I was traded. I was in New York. Ray Bork, I saw him in the summertime, and he said, you know what? When you got traded, we knew we had a chance. That's Ray Bork. Ray Bork. Now, I'm not the guy who's going to score the winning goal. I'm not the guy that is going to coach the team.
That great
I'm not going to
player.
stop the puck.
No.
No, I was a very good player. But,
no, but not that great.
No, but
you're saying,
here's
Chris,
what
that
happened.
You would have made a difference in the Stanley Cup.
In the playoffs.
But
in the playoffs.
When you say that, people who are watching you are telling themselves, he thinks he's a better player than he was.
No. No, they're not. I was a very good player. What do you mean I think I was a very... People know what a good player I was. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I could play the game.
You could just make a difference. Can one guy make a difference in the series?
You know what can make a big difference?
What?
Right here. Right here.
It was lacking?
Le corps. The heart.
Right.
Makes a big difference.
Right.
The passion makes a big difference. The willingness to stick up for your teammates. The willingness to do things on the ice that your teammates wouldn't do. And when you have that and you bring that to the other team, Ray Bork doesn't say that to me for nothing. And I don't say that because I think I'm great. I just know how players think. I know how they react.
Is fear part of hockey?
Of course. Fear's part of life. Are you kidding me? We're fear-driven people.
Are you?
Am I?
Yeah.
Of course I am.
From what? From what?
Put it this way.
What do you fear?
A lot of things. I fear going back to drugs and alcohol. I fear the day my mom and dad die. I've never been, put it this way, I've never been scared. I believe when you're scared, you become paralyzed. You don't do anything. Fear for me is what keeps me from getting scared. Fear gets me into action. It motivates me. It motivates me to stand up and do what I have to do.
Did your father make you what you are today and what you've been as a hockey player?
Of course he did. I respected my dad. I looked up to him in a lot of ways. I learned things from him. I learned things from my mother.
You feared him?
Of course I did. I feared getting hit by him. Did I have some anger about that? Of course I did. Did I deserve some of that? I don't believe so. Some of the things he did. It's the way he dealt with it. I didn't like it. Now, like I said, I've dealt with it, and I've let my father off the hook as far as I'm. My mom and dad.
Get over it.
My father was 17. You never get over it. You get through it. My mother was 17.
Get through it, not
you
over
get
it.
through it. You don't go over, you got to go through. If you don't go through, you don't get the results. My mom was 17, my dad was 18 when they were married and had a kid. You know, they did the best they could in their life, and they did a damn good job when I look back now. But when you're a teenager, you don't see that, you know? And yeah, I was scared of my dad.
After your retirement in 1992, what happened to you?
Well, I had some difficult times, you know. I had a difficult time seeing where I wanted to go, filling that void from hockey. You know, obviously through all my surgeries that I had, I got addicted to pain medication, and I became physically addicted. You know, I was started with Percocet, I went to Oxycontin, stronger drug, and then eventually to heroin. I'm not ashamed of any of it. It's something that happened in my life. You know, I look at, I was in a bad place. I was in a bad place.
How did it make you feel, these drugs? What did you want to forget or to escape to?
My physical pain.
Really?
My physical pain. I played my whole career with no cartilage in my right knee, one little piece. I got it cleaned out every year. My ankle, I got screws in my ankle, my shoulders, my hands. And I'm not complaining. It's what it is. But when I had these surgeries and I took the medication, I felt good. I could operate. I could, ooh, it feels good.
Really?
And before I knew it, when I tried to stop, I couldn't. I was so sick. I was so addicted. And the only way, when you don't have pills, or you don't have the heroin, and I got to the point where I couldn't get any more pills. When I couldn't get it anymore, that's when I turned to the heroin, because I tried to kick it on my own, and I got so sick. I was so sick. And the only thing that takes that sickness and that pain away is more pills. I snorted it, and it took it away right away. It took it away. And then I was trapped in that. I eventually shot heroin. I used a needle. I injected it.
So how's your life all these times?
Miserable. Miserable. I was a slave. I was a slave to drugs. When you're addicted, you can only take care of yourself. And that wasn't me. That's not me. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I'm more take care of everybody else. The only way I was able to get through that was I had to ask for help. And that was probably the most difficult thing for me to do, was get on the phone and ask for help.
Because?
I'm not like that. I just was never like that. Hey, can you help me?
Right.
Who does that?
You would be dead now.
Yeah, I most likely. You know, I was playing Russian roulette every night with 5 bullets in the gun. Not one, 5 bullets. Every night.
At the time of the drugs and everything, did you think about your kids?
Oh, always I thought about my kids.
How'd you feel?
I felt guilty. I felt full of shame. I wanted to stop. I couldn't. My oldest daughter, Colleen, I called her in tears, told her I was messed up on drugs, and I was going away to get help. And she said, Dad, you know, Dad, you beat up your body so much. Don't worry. Don't worry. I understand. And to me, it just made me feel that she was so forgiving. And it's not like I was hurting myself and I was hurting them to an extent, but I still was involved with my kids, even when I was messed up.
Really?
Yeah, I would go out for dinner with them. I would go over the house and see them. And, you know, I wasn't like, oh, I could talk, you know. But I think they sensed, you know, Dad's messed up, or Dad maybe had a couple of beers, and
you're right about,
so I tried.
About the beer, about being in the bar early, having a beer or 2 or 3 an hour and going home.
You know, earlier I would, you know, I said I wouldn't go to the bar at 6. You know, I would go in, the news was on, and then pretty soon I was going in, the soap operas was on, and then
That's how
I said, if I keep going, I'm gonna be going with the cartoons, you know.
Early in the morning, yeah.
So.
Après la pause, la suite de cette entrevue avec Chris Nilan.
Après la pause, oh, continue.
There you go.
We good? He's going to say do it again. I'm going to say fuck you. Get out of here.
How did it work in dans le vestiaire? How did you get along with all these guys?
I just came in the room and I walked in. I said, hey, all of you, shut the fuck up. I'm in charge. Coach, sit down. I'm in charge. Gainey, shut up. Robinson, shut up. LaFleur, get out of here. No.
And they all obeyed.
No.
Yeah, of
It
course.
was so fun. It was just a good group of guys.
When you're a great team of hockey players, how does it work?
It's unbelievable. It's easy. Here's one thing I'll never do. I'll never, you ask me about a teammate and what they do, forget about it.
You don't rat on people.
I'll only talk about the positive, good times we had. And I would never disparage a teammate in any way. So forget about that.
So you think I was going to ask you? Were
Sure,
you
I
going
know
to
you.
the Paris?
Yeah.
And
Of course, we went to Chez
to-
Paris. Yeah, of course we did. That's nothing. Yeah, I went to Chez
That's
Paris.
nothing?
Come on, we went to Chez Paris, had some fun, few drinks, happy hour, team bonding.
Not at Saint-Hubert barbecue. Paris.
No. We didn't want chicken.
You told that you never had a concussion, and we're talking about that all the time. And you say, not me, not.
I never had one.
Are you serious?
You're like everybody else. They're like, you serious? You serious?
Yeah.
Never had a concussion. I never had the symptoms. I was never diagnosed with one.
What happened?
Symptoms of the concussion, the way I understand it, is that, oh, you can't see light, get a headache, a bad headache, depression.
Yeah.
I never had depression. The
Really?
only time I never had depression. When I was depressed, it's because I didn't have drugs and I was sick. Not because I was depressed because I got concussions, no.
So what's this deal about concussions? Because everybody is missing games because of concussions these days.
Guys are getting them. They're getting hit in the head. The concussion is when you wake up with vicious headaches. When you try and ride the bike or skate, you get bad headaches.
Yeah.
You can't take the light. I never had that. So I was never diagnosed with a concussion.
But did you ever check if you had?
I never had to be checked because I never had the symptoms.
But you got hit in the head.
So what?
So what?
No,
So what? Everybody's saying.
We fall and bump our head when we're a kid. Right? We bump our head now and again. Does it mean we all get concussions?
Is it because you're
They
Irish?
made your head hard. They made it hard for a reason. But no, honestly, just because you get punched in the head, I think the concussion comes from a violent blow to your head, and your brain moves inside, and it hits off the side of the head. Now, just because you get punched in the head don't mean your brain is going to move all the time. Not all the time.
Is your brain okay?
My brain?
Yeah. Take your time. Take your time. Think about it.
Do you think I could sit here and do the conversation we had with the French Charlie Rose? Charlie Rose.
In fact, I'm the French Oprah.
The French Oprah. Not quite. Not quite. You're in better shape.
You know, I'm working on it. You know, we talk about fighting like it was nothing. We talk about fighting like it was just a verb. But you hurt when you fight.
You get hurt. Yeah, it's part of it.
But you talk about it like you like this hurt.
I love to, I don't like the hurt. I love to fight. I loved it. I love my job.
But loving to fight means...
You're crazy?
A little bit.
No. Why?
Because nobody loves to fight. Nobody wants to fight here.
In my job, in my life growing up, listen, I'm not going to say I didn't have the fear like I told you. Of course I had the fear. But the fear motivated me to stand up to that.
No,
I stood up to stuff in my life.
Didn't you fear being hurt?
You don't think about it. When you start to think about that, that's when you're going to get hurt. You just do it. And I was good at just doing
But
it.
when you did get hurt, you went back to the bench and said, I'm sick
Put the
of it."
ice. Put the
Put
ice.
the ice.
Put the ice.
Yeah.
These are two tough customers. You wouldn't want to be on the end of either one of these.
You don't wear the ring?
I had one Stanley Cup ring.
Yeah.
When I got it, I gave it to my father. I said, Dad, I want you to have this. Boom, there you go. One condition. When you die, give it to my son Chris. No problem. After I got traded, I come back to Montreal in the summertime, and I got a phone call from Serge Savard, the hotel. Hey, big boy, come and see me, you know. I want to say hi to you. I came, and we talked, and he said, for you, I have a lot of respect for you and what you did here in Montreal, not just on the ice, but off the ice. And I know you gave your ring to your dad. I had another one made for you. It's class.
The father-in-law of the Bolger,
Whitey? Yeah.
Whitey, that's a weird story. He was your father-in-law,
Yeah.
and he got arrested like he was 83.
Yeah.
He wasn't a nice guy
He was a nice guy to me.
to you.
He was a friend to me.
Yeah.
Now,
When you first met him, tell the story.
well, I went in and we met. First time I met him, and he pulled a gun. You know how you have a talk, your daughter?
No.
You have a daughter, and you
Yeah.
have to talk to the boyfriend
Yeah.
or whoever.
Yeah.
Well, you
Tell
tell
him
him,
that's-
what you expect,
Yeah.
how to treat your daughter. That's what he did with me. And the only difference being is he had a gun when he was telling me. And, you know, he had a gun. What's he going to shoot me? I'm going on the first date. Like, what's he going to shoot me?
Yeah.
Says, you, boom, you can't go out with her?
Yeah. But he was a scary guy. He was.
Yeah, he was a dangerous guy, more than capable guy. He was a guy who...
What was he known for? For people who don't know, Chris.
He was known for murder, extortion, fraud, drugs, everything. He was in charge of the Irish Mafia in Boston. And listen, I knew he had some stuff going on. Did I know the extent of it? How far he was going? No. I knew he was involved in that world, but, you know, when you're involved in that world, and I'm not justifying what he did at all. I don't, some of the things he did, I don't agree with whatsoever. And I don't back him because of it. He was good to me, and he was a friend to me. And what kind of friend am I? Because he gets in trouble and did some bad things, I'm not his friend anymore? What kind of friend am I? Now...
Well, if he's killing people and selling drugs to
Well,
kids,
listen,
then, you have to take a stand somewhere.
Well, listen, I didn't go and do that with him. I didn't run around with him and hang around with him. Did he come up here? Yeah, he came up here, watch games at the Montreal Forum. I mean, long before I really knew of everything he was doing. I knew he was up to something. Was it gambling? You know, running the numbers, all that stuff. I knew he was involved in all that. And I'm not justifying what he did. The innocent people who were killed, I don't agree with whatsoever. It's shameful, it's bad.
But you didn't get involved in that.
No, not at all. Come on.
Well, you're surprised.
He would
wasn't
never
really-
let me. He didn't even want me around it. I'd stop and say hi to him one day. He said, hey, don't ever stop and say hi to me here.
Really?
They'd take a picture. I don't want that for you, you know? You got a good career. You do your thing. Yeah, he was protective of me that way. Yeah, so, and I would see him every Christmas. He was my children's grandfather. Like, what, you know? Everybody thinks it's just easy. Like, oh, he was a bad guy. What are you, crazy being there? You know, I married Karen. That was part of that life. Like I said, I would see him with my mother-in-law and stuff like that. He'd come up to a couple games, but it wasn't my whole life. You know, I married Karen. I didn't marry him.
Your father-in-law, didn't you get a ring or something?
I don't know.
No?
They said in the newspaper he had one.
So, did it come from you?
We've got to believe everything we read in the
Ah,
newspaper.
the bastards. Don't believe.
bastards?
Don't believe the journalists.
I never gave him a ring. Jamais. Jamais, jamais. I never gave him a ring. Now,
What?
did he see my ring? The one my father had?
Yeah.
He saw it. Could he have went and had one made? Sure he could have. He had a lot of money. Could do anything he wanted. So did he have a ring? If he did, I never saw it. I don't know anything about it.
So what's the deal between the Québécois, francophones, and because the Anglophones
And
don't-
Chris Nilan?
and Chris Nilan?
I think they see a guy that has courage. You know, and courage, what is courage, right? It's being able to walk through those fears.
Yeah.
Despite the fear. We have fear, but I'm going to walk through there anyway. Despite the fear, I'm going to walk through there. And I think that's what they see.
Will you stay on the right path
Today I will.
tomorrow?
We'll see.
Chris Nilan, c'était un plaisir de te rencontrer, un plaisir de te recevoir en entrevue. Merci beaucoup.
Ben moi, merci beaucoup.
Take
mon
care
chum.
of yourself.
I will.